LeBron James and Stephen Curry have dominated the NBA conversation, but does the all-time scoring leader and the three-point king have another championship run in them? A very happy Independence Day weekend as we welcome you to the latest edition of Free Agent Fever with former General Manager of the Phoenix Suns, Ryan McDonough, 3D Dennis Scott. I'm Jared Greenberg. There have been a lack of fireworks coming out of L.A. from the Lakers and in the Bay Area with the Warriors as we now enter day 4 of free agency. Steph and LeBron, as you know, have combined for 8 of the last 14 championships. But do they have another one in them is the question here, and I think their fans want that. Let's start here, fellas, with the Lakers first, right? They've made a couple of quieter moves, adding DeAndre Ayton. They re-up with their center, Jaxson Hayes, to help fill that big void in the middle. But 3D, have they done enough to help LeBron and Luka?
No, they haven't done enough at all. If we're being very honest, so you said it's a small move and you're trying to, play chess, but right now you're moving checker pieces, if you will. So with Luka and LeBron making the lion's share of the cap, how do you bring in enough pieces? How do you get the bench deep enough? Because that's what our NBA is now. You look at both teams in the finals, Ryan, they both went 9-10 real deep. I don't see the Lakers having the flexibility with the way their roster is, Jared, for them to make those type of roster moves where you can say, you know what? Now I look at this Laker team, I can see them coming out of the West because they have enough depth and they have defensive-minded people. Right now you look at the roster, it looks pretty good. They're going to score a lot of points, but they're not stopping anybody. That's why I don't think these moves are monumental.
Yeah, I agree, Dennis. Lack of defense, especially on the perimeter, is a concern for me. I thought the Lakers defended a lot better when Dorian Finney-Smith came over from Brooklyn midseason. Their defensive rating really took off. And then after the Luka trade, the team really took off overall. They did not prioritize re-signing Finney-Smith. They did sign Jake LaRavia, and then with the rest of the non-taxpayer mid-level, brought in DeAndre Ayton. Jared, you mentioned the Jaxson Hayes signing. But as I look at the Western Conference, I have this team in that 5, 6, 7 range right on the play-in line. I know that's not what Lakers fans want to hear. But, Jared, they still have a lot of questions, too. Luka Doncic is not extension eligible for about another month. And then they offered the max extension they can offer to Austin Reeves, about $89 million over 4 years. He turned that down because it's well below his market value. So still a lot of questions in L.A. And unfortunately, if you're a Lakers fan, I don't think a lot of these will be answered anytime soon.
So what can Rob Pelinka and his staff do between now and the start of the season?
Well, they can look at trades, with some of the other guys up and down the roster. What does Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, they have future picks, swaps, things like that. Can they be aggressive like that? But I was surprised, again, that they let Finney-Smith go. They brought in LaRavia. They brought in Ayton. Clearly, their priority was center. We knew they needed a center as soon as they voided the Mark Williams trade just after the trade deadline last year. Are Ayton and Jaxson Hayes good enough? The Hayes one in particular surprises me, Jared. In 5 playoff games last year, he played fewer than 10 minutes in each of the first 4 games and did not play at all in Game 5. He was DNP, so I'm a little surprised he's back in a Lakers uniform.
Let's go up north to the Golden State Warriors, where there's a lot of questions that are still yet to be answered, where they're trying to give Steph Curry another chance to win a championship here. You look at what they have. They made their big move, just like the Lakers, midseason. They added Jimmy Butler. So do they have enough right now to make another run in them?
It's going to sound repetitive. When you look at our league today, you look at Jimmy, you look at Steph, there's the lion's share of the salary cap. Then you look at Draymond, what he brings to the table. As much as we love Draymond being a vocal on that defensive line, but it doesn't move the needle like it did in the past. And I think that's where a lot of us fans are like, wait a minute. Normally when you talk about LeBron and Steph, it's about make 1 or 2 moves, we can get this team right, and we're right back in the mix. I don't see that anymore, Jared.
Ryan, we've heard a good amount of news about unrestricted free agents. One of the biggest restricted free agents is Jonathan Kuminga. What's the latest with him? What do you expect to happen?
Jared, there's never been a worse time to be a restricted free agent than this offseason in 2025 because of the lack of available cap space. Only one team, the Brooklyn Nets, came into free agency with max cap space, and we know how they used that to absorb contracts. They took back Terrence Mann from Atlanta. They took back Michael Porter Jr. from Denver. So there's not an offer sheet team available. So the restricted free agents are really getting squeezed, and Kuminga doesn't have a whole lot of leverage here, guys. His best option, if he can't work out a deal with Golden State, is to sign the qualifying offer. That's a 1-year deal at $7.9 million, well below his market value. But Jared, that would make him an unrestricted free agent next summer when more teams have money and he has a little bit more leverage. But right now, as a restricted free agent, the same applies for Josh Giddey, Quentin Grimes, Cam Thomas in Brooklyn. You're really reliant on your current team, to be fair, because there's not an offer sheet team in the marketplace with cap space.
One caveat that might bite the Warriors, though, if he does sign that qualifying offer, it comes with a no trade clause for the year. That puts the Warriors in a precarious situation if they're trying to move on from him. So they obviously would like to get a deal done. We're going to get into some of the other unrestricted free agents that are out there, some of the older guys, and talk first and foremost about the Golden State Warriors. We've heard so much about them being tied to Al Horford. Ryan, do you see that financially working out here?
Yes, I do. And I think that's why Golden State's been so patient. Some would say passive in free agency. Jared, they really haven't done a whole lot. Kevon Looney left the Warriors after a great run there. He's signing with the New Orleans Pelicans. And I think they're banking on Al Horford. And I think the stars are aligning for Al Horford to go to Golden State if he wants to continue playing. That is a question at 39 years old.
Right.
He's had a great career. I think he's headed to the Hall of Fame someday. So the Warriors have the big non-taxpayer mid-level. That's $14.1 million. And I think they're just waiting, giving Al Horford time, Jared, because as we know, 3D, the marketplace for free agents has moved very quickly. Right. So I don't think if they don't get Horford, they're going to go spend it on somebody else. There's really not a player of that caliber. So I think if you're Golden State, sit back, be patient, and see if Horford comes your way.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. And Jerry, I think in Al's position, he's going to be patient as well because he can pick and choose where he wants to go. And I don't think he wants to start at 39 years old either. So it has to be at the right point where I'm playing the right minutes, save his body for the playoffs.
He hasn't played in back-to-back games in several years.
Exactly.
How about Chris Paul? Where does he? What do you think his fit is? He's talked about wanting to be on the West Coast.
Well, at first, you heard the rumors they want to be close to home. So was it the Lakers? Would it be the Clippers? I thought the Lakers, if you're going to need a point guard, another guy, then you say to yourself, well, at his age, they're still not stopping anybody else again. So that's not a good fit either. So for me, could it be Dallas for a minute to hold down the fort till Kyrie comes back? But at the end of the day, Chris Paul says he still wants to play meaningful minutes. So which team's willing to give those minutes to a guy in his 21st year?
Let's talk about Russell Westbrook. He had an interesting ending to his season in Denver, which that's usually the way it's ended for him the last couple of stops, whether it be the Clippers, the Lakers. Is there a market for Russell Westbrook right now?
I don't think there's a significant one. There's certainly not a robust one if it exists at all, Jared. And keep in mind, Russell Westbrook had a player option with the Denver Nuggets. He opted out of a $3.4 million number to be an unrestricted free agent. Usually what agents do is canvass the league to see, is that worth it? Would they recommend it for the player? Obviously, the player, especially a great veteran player like Russell Westbrook, who's headed to the Hall of Fame someday, can overrule the agent. But Jared, I wonder if he's regretting that at the moment, because if he opted in with Denver, $3.4 million would be guaranteed with the Nuggets, or they could work out a trade. Now we're 72 plus hours into free agency. Russell Westbrook does not have a home, and I don't see an obvious fit. I mean, maybe the Knicks, they have Cameron Payne, Landry Shamet as unrestricted free agents. Mike Brown's their new head coach. But it doesn't seem like teams are clamoring to get Russell Westbrook despite his prolific career.
Yeah, I was shocked at first too, Jared, but then maybe something was not right in Denver while you gave up. Now, obviously not a lot of money to him. He's made so much money throughout his career, but you still want to play competitive basketball. So to be under contract and figure out later versus, to your point, maybe his agent thought he had something in the marketplace for him, and right now it hasn't come to life.
So whether you think that the free agency has been kind of lackluster or not, there is still plenty more to get done. There could be more trades. There are these restricted free agents that need to get signed at some point. We will find out. But over the first few days, there have been some clear winners of free agency and this offseason market. We'll ask Ryan McDonough to crown him